This is St. Louis Cardinals baseball, and tonight from Southern California, it's game number 2, the St. Louis Cardinals and the Los Angeles Angels. Last night, the Cardinals were bringing the lumber, presented by Yellowwood. To St. Louis Cardinals baseball, along with the Cardinals Hall of Famer Jim Edmonds and Jim Hayes. I'm Dan McLaughlin. The offense came alive last night. The pitching was great from Mike Leake. We'll see what happens here in game 2.
Yeah, last night was a great start to this road trip. 9 extra base hits, big home run right off the bat with Matt Carpenter, and a solid game all the way around and a big win for Mike Leake. So see if they can continue that tonight and try to keep the bats of Anaheim quiet.
All right, Jaime Garcia gets that call tonight for St. Louis. And it's a look at our Budweiser What's on Tap. Jaime will try to shut down the future Hall of Famer Albert Pujols. He is 1 for 15 in his career against St. Louis. Baseball comes your way next. To you by Budweiser. This Bud's for you. By Chevrolet. Visit your local Mid-America Chevy dealer for great prices on the all-new 2016 Malibu. And by Menards. Save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. It is a gorgeous night here in Southern California. The Big A, Angels Stadium. And along with the Cardinals Hall of Famer Jim Edmonds and Jim Hayes, I'm Dan McLaughlin. It is 64 degrees. Well, we're on the West Coast. That means a lot of baseball has already taken place as we get a look at our T-Mobile greater coverage of Major League Baseball. How about Max Scherzer, the St. Louisan, 20 strikeouts that ties a Major League record in a 9-inning game. He did that against Detroit. Brett Wallace, 3-run homer and a 7-4 win over the Cubbies in Game 1 of the doubleheader. And the Cubs in the game 2 are trailing 1-0 in the bottom of the 7th. And the Baltimore Orioles back-to-back home runs in the last 3 games. Baltimore, one of the surprises of the American League at 19-12, and they lead the American League East. There's a look at Matt Shoemaker. This will be the lineup that he'll face tonight. Matt Carpenter, followed by Steven Piscotty. Then Matt Holliday, who is 3 for 5 with 3 extra base hits in game 1. Brandon Moss will play left field, bat cleanup. Then Yadier Molina, Matt Adams, Randall Grichuk, Colton Wong, and Aledmys Diaz. Well, Matt Shoemaker has made 5 starts. He gets called back up in the minor leagues. He broke camp with the big league club. His record stands at 1-4, and he's a guy that, after a terrific rookie campaign, has not been able to regain that form.
Yeah, actually, I was downstairs actually a little bit today watching some of the video on him, and seems the book on him right now is he hasn't been able to command his fastball. He's leaving a lot of pitches up in the zone, and his velocity might just not be enough to do that. And that's just from standing in the locker room, listening and watching over the shoulders of some of the hitters in the Cardinals locker room today. But
5 starts in only 20 and 2/3 innings. 6 home runs, 21 earned, an ERA that is over 9. And in talking with those around the Angels, they mentioned exactly what you're talking about, fastball command. Now, if he gets it, he's got a split finger that he can use to set guys up. But you're talking about a guy that's lacking command and right now lacking wins.
Yeah, and sometimes when you're not feeling good and you have to max effort some pitches here and there to get through innings, you try too hard. We talk about everything's got to be free and easy, and when you're overdoing it, you just can't have that command that you really want. You don't have the sharpness, and you leave some balls up in this league and it gets smashed, but everything's set up after that fastball, and if you can't throw the fastball for strikes and get ahead, all that other stuff doesn't matter.
Dobbs Tire Auto Center's defense, Shane Robinson in left, Mike Trout in center, Kyle Calhoun is in right. Yunel Escobar, he's at third. Brendan Ryan, his first start as an Angel, at short. Giavotella is at second, Pujols at first, and Giovanni Soto is behind the plate. Matt Carpenter, his 10th career leadoff homer to start this series yesterday. As the California native, Brendan Ryan gets a start in his 2nd game with the Angels. First pitch, a strike, and we're underway. Couple of hits last night, all the extra base hits that the Cardinals had, one of their best offensive nights of the season. There's the breaking ball, 0-2. Opponents come in hitting .322 off this righty. Left-handers well above 300, the righties a .361 average. Get the feeling, Jimmy, this is a young man that is highly motivated here tonight with the pitcher, Matt Shoemaker, trying to keep his spot in the big leagues, not just the rotation.
Yeah, and that was the thing I was going to say when I accidentally cut you off a second ago, was sometimes you go down there and you learn a little bit what's going on, maybe take a couple steps back, sometimes even a fresh voice in the AAA pitching coach and that coaching staff helps a little bit. Maybe bring something to your attention you don't really see, and you know, hopefully that's what they send people down for. Get a fresh start, come back up, and put it all into play up here.
2014, he was a 16-game winner, 16-4, and an Angels rookie record for wins. That's it out of play. He finished 2nd in the Rookie of the Year award to Jose Abreu, the slugger of the Chicago White Sox. If you're wondering, Jacob deGrom won in the National League back in 2014. And there's a look at the longest tenured manager in the game, Mike Scioscia. The 3-2 pitch again. Carpenter pops it up into shallow left. Sugar Shane. Shane Robinson puts it away. So Matt Shoemaker, let's take a look at his Hyundai pitch arsenal. As Jimmy talked about, a lot of fastballs, about 57% of the time.
You can see he mixes in that changeup, and that's one of those things. If you can't throw your fastball for strike, that changeup's not really going to affect as many hitters the way it should, because you're pitching from behind and you can't really use your off-speed pitches the way you need to, and you're really going to have to go out there and challenge guys.
Something made its way onto the playing surface out in left center, so Robinson went and got that, dumped it over the wall, and that's why we had a little delay here, as Stephen Piscotty will be your hitter. He's hitting .318, 5 home runs. He's driven in 21, and that's tied with Matt Carpenter for most on the team. The Cardinals and their staff, they marvel at the way Piscotty approaches each pitch, not just each game or at bat, but each pitch, and has a very good understanding of what the league is trying to do to him.
Yeah, he stays under control so much. He's nice and soft in there, and really just allows him to take a lot of pitches.
There's a broken bat, and it's pulled foul. You were telling me when you were working with the outfielders in spring, as you get a look at our Missouri Lottery Fox tracks, and in the hands of Piscotty, he was very quiet, but yet took in everything he had to say.
Very quiet and very observant, and it translates to home plate for him. You know, it's just very methodical and very smooth at everything he does, and doesn't try to get too excited, and just goes about his job, and that's really what you want to see, especially in a young player.
So it's 1 ball and 2 strikes. Just underway here in Los Angeles. A little bit low, and it's 2-2.
The thing I like about Shoemaker, he's got that good downward fastball, kind of like Michael Wacha would have.
Slowly hit to Yanel Escobar. Slings it over to first. Pujols gets out of the way and stays on the bag for the out. Near collision there at first base. Pujols primarily has been used as the designated hitter, and tonight getting that start at first base. I think when he was going for that ball, look at the right foot. No, it did stay on the bag, but he made sure with the left.
Yeah, still pretty nimble. That's one of those things, playing first base for so long. You get those plays all the time. There's always something that you have to do to move to either catch a ball or get out of the way. You just can't stand over there and stretch towards the baseball and catch it. No big deal. You got to stay very balanced, because you never know where the throw is going to end up.
There's Holiday, 3 hits last night, 2 doubles and a home run. The changeup, and it's 0-2.
You can see right here, Gio's trying to get him to get the ball down. And if I'm the Angels right now, I'm kind of liking what I see. His ball's got a little life on it. The explosion of Piscotty's bat. That's another broken bat right there.
Brendan Ryan, and the pick by Pujols. Nice play all the way around. Ryan backed up on that play, made a nifty play on the short hop, and then Pujols the pick at first. As we move to the bottom of the first, Jaime Garcia gets the start tonight for St. Louis. And this is the lineup he'll face: Yanel Escobar, Cole Calhoun, and Mike Trout. Then Albert Pujols, C.J. Cron, Giovanni Soto, Johnny Giavotella, Shane Robinson, and Brendan Ryan. A couple of former Cardinals, actually 3 of them in the lineup tonight for the Angels. As Jaime Garcia gets the call for the Cardinals, see if Jaime can't build upon what he did in his last start. He was terrific. 2 hits, 7 scoreless against the Phillies, and he's actually riding a scoreless inning streak of 12 1/3 dating back to his start against the Nationals. Good to see that Mike Leake picked up his first win, 8 innings last night. There's now 3 starters in Major League Baseball with 7 starts without a win, and Mike is happy not to be a part of that list. Escobar leads our club with 39 hits and hitting over 400 the last 2 weeks. The well-traveled Yanel Escobar, the Braves, Blue Jays, Tampa Bay, the Nationals, and now here with the Angels. As we talked about last night, Jim, when you have a guy like Mike Leake on the mound, your infield defense has to be very good. Same can be said here with Jaime Garcia. Among all active starting pitchers, no pitcher gets more ground balls than Jaime Garcia. Nearly 60% of the balls put in play are on the ground.
He does a really good job of getting on top of the ball. The thing that is really tough about Jaime is when it comes out of his hand, you don't know if it's going to cut or if it's going to sink. And that is, for a hitter, is miserable, and that leads to a lot of ground balls because it's a lot of missed hits and swings.
There's a strikeout to start his night of Escobar. Dobbs Tire and Auto Center's defense as we go around the horn. Moss in left, Grichuk in center, Piscotty is in right. Carpenter, Diaz, Wong, and Adams along the infield, and Yadier Molina is behind the plate. Good way to start his night with a strikeout. It brings in Cole Calhoun, lone lefty in the lineup tonight for Mike Scioscia. Calhoun has been very good at home. Hitless last night, but .365 here at Angel Stadium, and that's popped foul and out of play. Sparse crowd tonight. I mentioned this last night. You know, you have a home here and in St. Louis. Are you surprised with the crowds?
I am, especially with the Cardinals in town. It's funny because traveling over the years, you see some of these random cities that you don't think that would have such a big baseball following for the Cardinals. But I guess now that I look back, it seems like obviously the more in the Midwest, but Miami comes to mind that surprises me. Huge Cardinal following, and I'm surprised that really not much here, even though there's a lot of Cardinal fans. You would think more Angel fans would come out to watch the Cardinals play, considering they're not here very often, which I don't know how long the last time they were here. It's been a while.
These two teams have met in interleague play, 3 different series, including this one, and 2 of the 3 here at Angel Stadium. The first one was back in 2002. And the 0-2 pitch to Calhoun. Just missed on the inside corner. Well, we talk about it all the time, how tough Garcia can be to catch because his ball moves so much. As you said, miserable on a hitter, probably miserable on Yadier Molina too.
It can be tough on Yadi, especially if he crosses him up a little bit. But the good thing about that is they're probably been around so long together, they know exactly what's, he knows what's going to happen.
Fly ball to Brandon Moss. 2 down. Hyundai pitch arsenal with Jaime Garcia. Great movement on everything he throws. Fastball, the slider, the change, and the curve. And it brings in Mike Trout. Leads their club in average. .314, home runs with 7, RBIs 23, and in runs scored. And you had an extended interview with Mike Trout before the game.
Yeah, I guess it's an interview, but yeah, we had a little thing for the Anaheim group here, and I heard it came out quite well.
So I asked you last night, what were you going to ask Mike Trout? So you had the conversation. You said it went 3 minutes. Those that witnessed the greatness of that piece said it was at least 10.
The greatness. That's a question mark at the end of the greatness. It was good. I just kind of wanted to let people know he's a human being. When he takes off that jersey right there, he's got that big S on his chest usually for Superman.
Yeah.
But he's a 24-year-old kid. And a lot of the people around here say he plays just like a kid, he acts just like a kid, and he has a lot of fun. So I wanted people to understand he does his own laundry. He lives in Laguna Beach. He drives in traffic every day like everyone else. And it was funny because the first thing he asked me was, tell me about the World Series.
Is that right?
Yeah. So he's got his head on straight, knows what he wants, but people around here love him.
Hard not to with the great numbers he's put up. One of the best starts ever in the history of baseball. Pujols on deck, and here's a 3-1 pitch. Line to short and caught by Aledmys Diaz. So 1-2-3 for Jaime Garcia. We move to the top of the second, and there's no score. Second, the Cardinals and the Angels. We turn to Jim Edmonds, Toyota keys to the game.
Well, my simple keys to the game today would be just to build on that momentum from yesterday. I believe that they swung the bat so well, and this is such a great place to hit for me. The lights are so bright, you can see the ball better. To build that momentum and keep playing good defense. I think this is good kind of time of the year where you can turn it all around.
Here's Brandon Moss. No score, top of the second. Moss is hitting .233. Every team in each at bat he's had this year has used the shift against Brandon Moss. Just wonder if he gives it any thought about dropping down a bunt. Matt Adams will do that. Moss is not.
That was one of the things that came up in my interview with Mike Trout today. Guess what he said about the shift?
Doesn't like it?
Hates it.
Yeah. Well, you think about it, when you grow up, you're playing Little League, you go to high school, maybe college, go to the minor leagues. At least in the last, let's say, 10 years, you didn't really see it. And now it's being used in the minor leagues. We saw it in spring training, of all places, against guys that will not be at the major league level. So it's being used all over the place now.
Part of that is trying to get the guys comfortable to play the shift. trying to figure out if you want to put the shortstop over there or you want to leave him on the shortstop side of the bag with the guy on first base. Here, right here, you can see Brendan Ryan's over there by the second base side. Don't have to worry about turning a double play, but when there's guys on base, they might switch that up. So I'm sure it's just practice for everything. That's what spring training's all about.
I wonder if Mike Trout feels that it's tough when you look out and you see the defense like that, if it's a vision type thing or just frustration when you hit a ball hard and all of a sudden there's the second baseman right behind the bag and what should be, at least historically, a base hit.
Yeah, and I didn't get a chance to ask him if he hated it offensively or defensively, but I don't think he gets the shift too much when he's hitting. But I think it's just weird. I think when you play defense and you see everything from center field and then a guy makes a great pitch and you see the little bloop single or the little chopper down the line that no one's standing where they should normally be standing, I think that kind of drives some players crazy.
You told me it really didn't bother you. But did you see it all that much?
No, we didn't see it that often. And it didn't really, the only time it bothered me is when it didn't work.
Yeah.
But then, you can't pitch a hitter to the shift the entire at bat. You have to throw a sinker away to a lefty just to keep him honest, or you have to throw a backdoor slider if that's his weakness. And sometimes those are the ones where they kind of just swing at and flail at and roll a ground ball to where the third baseman should be standing, and it's a base hit.
A leadoff walk to Moss, and it brings in Yadier Molina. 2 for 3 last night with a double, average at .319. Pretty amazing when you think about it, just how well Molina has played. In particular, swinging the bat, because he didn't play for the better part of 4 weeks in spring training. Started swinging the bat at the tail end. And here he is, one of the top hitters for the Cardinals on their club.
Still fresh. Didn't get beat up in spring training. I don't think people realize how long spring training gets for the players. They're down there for sometimes 6 weeks. They're out there on the field every day, maybe 2 days off. Mike does a good job of giving guys days off in between, and they've done a good job of giving players as a group days off other than their mandatory days off. So they're doing a lot of things now to make sure that the players are fresh all year long instead of just throwing them out there on the field because that's what the schedule says.
0-2 the count on Molina.
They're asking for the players for a lot more feedback than they used to. They got iPads and things that they can communicate with, and just literally day-to-day feelings of what's going on to their bodies and their arms as a pitcher and their legs and their feet. And so they're trying to really figure out how to get guys through the year better.
0-2 mistake by Shoemaker and a base hit into center field. It's gotten to the point that it's even an analytical look at health. You know, they break down in terms of innings played, the amount of time out on the field. Did you have to sprint X amount of times during the week? And it all goes into a formula in which they try to figure out then if a player should get at least 1 day off a week.
The crazy thing is when you're playing well is when you're beat up.
Yeah.
Because you're running the bases, you're swinging the bat more, you're playing defense. And when you're struggling, obviously you're not running the bases, so it's not as hard on your body. It's more hard on your mind. And sometimes that's the worst part of the game.
Sure. Here's Matt Adams. Did not play last night. On the year, batting .267, 3 home runs. He's driven in 7. And a good opportunity here in the second inning to strike first. Matt Adams was Jim Hayes' guest on the pregame show. Jim will have more on that in just a moment. Here's an 0-1 pitch. Adams, a base hit into left center field. Moss being waved in. He will score, and it's 1-0 Cardinals. Adams drives in his 8th, and St. Louis strikes first in game 2. You
can see down, he gets the ball down and just nice and easy, doesn't try to do too much. That's one thing about the shift too. They'll play the infield shifted because most of the ground balls from a certain player, the ground balls will be on the ground to the pull side. But you can't shift the outfield because sometimes they'll be completely opposite when the ball's in the air. And you can see right there, Matt Adams probably pulls the ball on the ground 90% of the time. But you can't play him that way in the outfield because you don't know where that he drives his fly balls in every gap in the outfield and not just dead pull.
A fastball to Randal Grichuk for strike one. Grichuk, a home run last night, number 5, and his roommate in the minor leagues almost brought it back in, Mike Trout. Remember, Grichuk selected a spot ahead of Trout in the draft class of 2009. Here's the 0-1 pitch. And left from that trade, Fernando Salas in the bullpen for the Angels. He's been very solid for them over the years. David Freese now with the Pirates, Grichuk with St. Louis, and Peter Borges is with the Phillies. 1 ball, 1 strike. Shoemaker is a 29-year-old from Michigan, signed as a non-drafted free agent in 2008 out of Eastern Michigan University. The 16th player from the Eagles program to make it to the big leagues. Most famous was Bob Welch. You may remember him, a 27-game winner back in 1990. The 2-1 is a base hit out to left. And the bases will be loaded for the Cardinals. And nobody out here in the top of the second. Hanging breaking ball, and Grichuk knew what to do with it.
It's a good at bat right there. Looks like he's kind of changing the way he's been swinging the bat, taking pitches, trying to tie him up on the inside right there, and then didn't offer at it and got himself a slider, which is usually comes after a fastball inside. Stayed with it and hit the ball hard to left field.
You know, Jimmy, I was looking at the numbers for Shoemaker when he had the 16 wins, and one thing that stood out for me, there weren't a lot of innings. You know, you figure you get 20+ starts, you're going to be close to, let's say, 170, 200 innings. That was not the case. And so what Mike Scioscia would do, he would get him through the 5 or the 6, and they had a very good bullpen, and that's how he racked up all those wins. 16-4. Since that time, he's 8-14, ERA close to 6 in 29 starts. And also a trip to the minor leagues.
Obviously something's changed in the way he's doing things, and I mean, the biggest thing for me is guys make adjustments just like pitchers do, and you get tired of getting the same guy getting you out all the time. And
right,
the way we play now 18 times against the same team, you keep seeing the same pitchers over and over and over. It's tough, man. I'm telling you, hitters can make adjustments just like pitchers can, and it's usually hard for a pitcher to go up there and invent different pitches and gain velocity. So you pretty much know everything he's got after the first 2 times you face him.
Bases loaded, nobody out. 1 ball, 1 strike on Colton Wong. And this is a guy that's made some adjustments here recently in how he's holding the bat. Not nearly as upright. It'll rest on the shoulder, and trying to use that as a trigger mechanism to get it back, load, and then explode into the ball.
Always playing with something when you're a hitter and you don't feel good, and that's a sign of a young player, but a sign of a player struggling is when you start to see them move their hands around, try to look to be a little quicker to the ball. Stance changes a little bit, and it's funny because sometimes even just a week full of little minor adjustments can trigger something that feels right, and then you just go right back to yourself again.
2-2 the count.
It's usually a bad sign for a player when you start to see big adjustments during the course of the season. So look to see a guy like Colton Wong, if he does change his hands a little bit, to just do it briefly.
Base hit into center field. Wong, the single on a 2-2 pitch that drives in Yadier Molina. That's his 5th RBI, and the Cardinals have a 2-run lead. We mentioned it last night. Mike Scioscia and the Angels carry 9 relievers. Not by accident. It's because of situations like this where Matt Shoemaker, you don't know how deep he can go in this game. And from the looks of it, not very deep at all.
Yeah, this is definitely not what you want to see coming back up from the minor leagues, getting a chance to start. First inning, he looked pretty sharp.
Now it's Diaz. Inning started with a walk to Moss, single to center by Molina. Adams a base hit to center and an RBI. Grichuk a base hit to left field, and Wong RBI single to center field. The 0-1 pitch may have been a little high, but it's 0-2. If he gets a hit, that would be 40 hits in 100 at bats to start his career. Think about that. Only player to do that since 1974 was Yasiel Puig, and there's a drive into right center field. Trout makes the catch right in front of the track. The runners tag up. It's an RBI for Diaz as Adams scores, and it's 3-0 Cardinals. Well, you'd love to see Colton Wong take second base on that play.
Yeah, that is a great play right there. Colton Wong tagging up right there, knowing as good a defensive player that Mike Trout is, probably going to run that ball down, but he's still running the other way pretty hard, so he's not going to be able to stop and throw the ball all the way back into second base. And Colton Wong can run. There's a huge advantage when you can run like that.
Base hit here could score 2. The corners are in. 3-0 Cardinals. And now the shift is put on here for Matt Carpenter. To me, this is a real good example of what you were talking about earlier. The infield on the right side. You got 3 defenders, and you got Mike Trout in center shading Carpenter the other way.
A little bit, yeah. You got the third baseman, Escobar. He doesn't really know where he needs to be right now because you have a guy on third and a guy on second, and any kind of movement in the infield, he's got to be involved in the play at third base.
Inside to Carpenter. Fly to shallow left to start game number 2 tonight.
It's like the hybrid shift.
Two and 1 the count. So a hitter's count here for Matt Carpenter. Carpenter with a fly ball out to deep center field. Mike Trout is there. He'll make the catch. Runners tag up again. The throw into third base, not in time as the run scores. That's Randal Grichuk. Carpenter drives in his team high 22nd run, and it's 4-0 St. Louis. MLB.TV Premium, the #1 live streaming sports service, delivers everything you've come to expect and more. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.TV for details. Congratulations to the St. Louis Blues. A 6-1 win tonight. They are headed to the Western Conference Finals. Outstanding. The strike to Stephen Piscotty.
A lot of people in St. Louis have been waiting a long time for that. To get to the next level, to get to the next round. Congratulations to the Blues. That's awesome.
Jimmy, I've been watching it for 40+ years. Trust me, I know. But this is different.
And you're kind of looking over your shoulder every now and then up here in the booth.
Oh, I've been so focused on the baseball game, I haven't taken in 1 minute of the Blues. Piscotty rips it into right field. Calhoun goes back and makes the catch. And Steven is 0 for 2, but a big inning for the Cardinals. They play 4. We're midway through 2. Garcia back to work. St. Louis on top. Mike Leake with more on the Cardinals starter. We check in with Jim Hayes. Jimmy.
Dan, you would think there might be a sense of relief that comes along with picking up that first win of the season. Mike Leake told me that's really not the case for him. Of course, Leake pitched 8 innings of 1-run ball last night. Leake got the win. He points to really good defense behind him and better command of his fastball and cutter last night. As for the win, Leake told me, quote, "I honestly don't keep track of that. I'm here to keep my team in the game." Mike Matheny told me Leake is all business. He said, if there is one guy you can believe when he says he doesn't care about his win total, it's Mike Leake, Dan.
All right, thank you, Jimmy. Here's Albert Pujols. Boy, it'd be tough, though, not to pay attention when you've just signed a 5-year deal for $80 million that you haven't picked up a win for your new team. There's pressure there. There's no doubt.
I'm sure he is well aware of what's going on. I think more or less he's not worried about it. He knows that at the end of the year he's going to be doing what he's expected to do.
First win of the season for Mike Leake. Pujols is 0 for his last 13. Just 1 hit in 15 at-bats against the Cardinals. 1-2 pitch, and he swings and misses and strikes out. Pujols came in hitting 183.
It's like he's throwing darts. Just a good solid sinker down and away. He's got a nasty cutter that you have to kind of think about sometimes, and that's the worst thing, is a cutter down and in with 2 strikes, and he throws a sinker on the black down and away. Hits a spot perfectly.
First pitch taken low, C.J. Cron.
Thing with hitters is when you throw them a good pitch that I would say that is almost unhittable, which in the back of your mind you think, man, I can't hit that. That's in the back of your mind for the rest of the at-bat.
A fly ball out to left. There's Brandon Moss for out number 2.
It's almost one of those things where you know he's going to come back to it because you didn't offer at it or you didn't take a good swing at it. And so it's almost like your body's telling you to heads up for this pitch. And then when you get the pitch that sneaky fastball down and away off the plate or away from you, it almost just locks you up because you're so worried about the pitch that you know you can't hit, which is the cutter that's going to be diving in towards the feet.
There's Giovanni Soto. Spent 8 years with the Cubs, 2 at Texas. Been with the White Sox, Oakland, and now the Angels. Mentioned last night how he and Molina very close. Used to play Little League in Puerto Rico together and against each other. As time is called. Something to keep an eye on tonight with Jaime Garcia is velocity. If he averages 90 or above, that pitch at 92, he has a .85 ERA. 3 games with average velocity 90 or below, ERA is 6. It's one of those oddities that you look at. Just that tick or 2 with his movement maybe can make that difference.
Well, I don't really think that's an oddity because without being disrespectful to a lot of people out there, when you're 91 and below, hitters are licking their chops. I mean, they're ready to hit. And that little, you're right, the little tick up, 92, 93, 94, totally different game.
6 up, 6 down for Jaime Garcia. Coming up, Holiday, Moss, and Molina. Baseball is brought to you by Ford, the official cars and trucks of the St. Louis Cardinals, and by Steel Outdoor Power Equipment. Quality, reliability, and value. Find a servicing Steel dealer at steeldealers.com or search STIHL. Great to have Jim Edmonds with us, the Cardinals Hall of Famer. Jim Hayes is here. I guess it's okay to have him. And I'm Dan McLaughlin. Jimmy, you're laughing a little bit. No, we love the cat.
I'm just glad he doesn't have his headphones on right now. He'd be complaining already.
A fly ball out to shallow left. Brendan Ryan doesn't know where it is, but Robinson is there for the catch, and there's one away. Brings in Brandon Moss. He started the rally in the second inning with a walk and came around to score. Something I want fans to watch is Giovanni Soto. I saw this last night, and when no one is on and how he throws the ball back, it is as unique of a way to throw the ball back to the pitcher you'll find.
I think you're putting that mildly.
He'll go down and just flip it back to the pitcher.
That's something new for him. I played with him in Chicago, and he is one heck of a catcher. He must be bothered by something.
Moss pops it up. Yunel Escobar. Well, when I see a guy do that, I think maybe he's got the yips. Friday, May 20th, 30,000 fans ages 16 and older receive an exclusive Yadier Molina Garden Gnome, and tickets are available at cardinals.com/promotions. Our good buddy and your former teammate, Gary Bennett, once he retired, talked about that, was open and public about at the tail end of his career, throwing the ball back to the pitcher was excruciatingly tough for him. It became a mental situation and trying just to throw the ball simply back to the pitcher. There it is again.
I had the yips for about 3 throws in spring training this year.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Throwing to the screen behind second base or where?
No, I was. We were doing some drills, the pitcher's batting practice, and at the very end of their pitching rotation, Mike said, "Why don't you go over there and catch a couple throws at first?" And the first time I threw it back, I hadn't thrown a ball in 5-6 years, and I was just like, I grabbed it and kind of got a little nervous. You know, everyone's watching. This is the pitcher's time, and I kind of grabbed the ball and just like my hands were shaking as I was throwing it over. I wish you could see what I was doing right now, but I was like, ah. And then because I didn't know how my arm was going to react to throw. I was then throwing a baseball in a while. So then the next one I threw a little bit harder, and then the next one I threw a little bit harder, and then I was like, okay, I can do this.
You can do it.
In front of about 40 people.
Here's a 3-1 pitch. Molina strokes it into deep right field. Calhoun is back. He'll look up, and it is off the wall. Yadi on his way to second base and in there safely. That's his 10th double of the year. Almost picked up his first home run.
Albert's all over him right now. Told him to hit the weight room. You can just see right here, though, with Shoemaker, those balls are getting up in the zone. And when they get up in the zone, they get flat. And those are the balls that are being hit, and they're being hit hard. When he gets on top of the ball and gets a little sink, the balls aren't being hit like that.
Here's Matt Adams, RBI single to center. Back in the second inning. Garrett Richards is out. Andrew Heaney, C.J. Wilson, they're all on the DL. Tyler Skaggs, Tommy John rehab. Houston Straight, their closer, out until May. And they have acquired the Angels' Jhoulys Chacin from the Atlanta Braves for a 6'7" lefty, Adam McCreary, as Adams goes down to get it and yanks it foul. They're just trying to figure out anybody that can take the ball every fifth day. And there's a look at all the injuries, in particular with their starting rotation. Obviously, their closer is out. Daniel Nava has just been put on the DL. And Andrelton Simmons, the outstanding shortstop, with a tear in his left thumb, and he's going to miss a couple of months. Here's the 0-2. And a strikeout of Matt Adams. First strikeout for Matt Shoemaker. Yachty the double, left stranded. We're midway through 3. West is proud to support the annual Jim Butler Charity Golf Classic on June 20th, benefiting the Boys and Girls Clubs of Greater St. Louis. Proceeds from the tournament help teach our kids how to live healthy and productive lives. For more information on how to participate as a golfer or to get involved, go to bgcstl.org/golf. Six up and 6 down to start tonight for Jaime Garcia. 7, 8, and 9 in the lineup for the Angels. Johnny Giavotella, the second baseman, leads it off. He's hitting .208. Now time is called. Cardinals with 4 runs in the top of the second and a 4-run lead. Once again, we understand many of our fans have switched over from the Blues games. Congratulations to the Blues. They are headed to the Western Conference Finals. Here's the 0-1 pitch. 1 ball, 1 strike. Giavotella is from New Orleans. And Mike Scioscia, before the game, was talking about his toughness. He and his family went through Hurricane Katrina, and they said that that was obviously, for any of the folks from that area, a traumatic experience. And he said this kid is one tough kid. Wasn't supposed to be in the big leagues. He's only 5'8", but we love his toughness and leads by example.
And he's got a great last name.
Giavotella. Diaz deep in the short, shows off the arm. His defense is getting better day by day.
Getting more comfortable, playing better positioning. All the help with the coaches in the scouting report. But when you got an arm like that, you don't have to get in front of every ball. You can catch the ball, set your feet, and throw it. You can get away with a lot more than a guy with an average arm.
Here's Shane Robinson, the former Cardinal, drafted back in 2006 from Florida State in the 5th round by St. Louis. A career .237 hitter here in the big leagues. Good guy. Shane was with Minnesota a year ago. Outfield is shallow, and the 1-0 pitch is taken for a strike. You always see Jaime Garcia go to that dirt, rub it on his hands, rubs up the baseball.
Well, you saw the one you had last night that you caught. You didn't think it was that special of a big league baseball.
And we should probably tell our fans how they do that. You know, before games, it is rubbed up with dirt. Little of the pine tar is in there too. It's not just the.
It's like Mississippi mud.
Yeah,
actually.
It's not the pristine white pearl that you think it might be. Look at Yachty. Even on that pitch, he's shaking his head, and he knows it's tough to catch this man.
Well, then you see right there, he's not only has his thumb, it's tough on his thumb, but you get kind of twisted a little bit right there. It takes your shoulder off at the same time.
And it's a 1-out walk to the 8th place hitter. For the Angels, it's their first base runner of the night.
It's funny that you say, too, about the baseballs. That, I mean, your average fan, I'm sure, knows that they're a little dirtier. They get rubbed up thinking maybe that's the dirt from the field. But if you don't rub up a baseball with some mud, they're not easy to control. They slip out of your hand. They're slick. They have a little bit of a weird sheen to them when they're brand new. So they do the best they can to rub them up, most of all for the grip and the safety of the players.
Here's Brendan Ryan, former Cardinal. Angels traded for him 2 nights ago. He was in Syracuse, AAA affiliate of the Washington Nationals, and with Andrelton Simmons out for a considerable amount of time, they went and got Ryan. Hit .229 last year with the Yankees. Came up with the Cardinals back in 2007. Makes me wonder if Brendan Ryan will be at Chris Carpenter's Hall of Fame induction ceremony this year. I'll never forget that game in Cincinnati where, well, we were held up because Brendan wasn't quite dressed for the event.
I have that dream a lot. I do. That I'm back in uniform and I'm trying to get dressed. I actually had it the other night. Probably flashbacks from watching the game, but just can't quite get dressed in time. Maybe he just has that real life moment.
Well, you better hope that Carpenter wasn't on the mound in those dreams.
I never made it out there to see the beginning of the game.
Yeah, Brendan did not have his shoes. You never knew, you know, Brendan should have been left-handed. He'd have been perfect as a lefty.
I think he used to give the great C.J. Cherry a lot of fits. Trying to keep him under control with his rooms and flights and pass lists.
You know, this is 19 years for me, and CJ has never come up into the booth. Then you start doing games, and CJ's always coming up here now.
It took me 5 games to get him up here. Check it out. It's a good view from up here, isn't it?
Yes, sir. Many thanks to CJ. So many years with the Cardinals and does so much for all of us. 1-2 pitch, fouled back.
There he is.
Now, who's that young lady, too?
That is Miss Haley Edmonds.
That's Haley right there.
Yeah. Big 18 years old now.
Wow.
Yep.
I remember she'd be at the ballpark and she was, what, 8 years old, 9 years old when she was coming around.
Younger than that, too.
Amazing. Ryan, a called third strike. The first time through this lineup, that's 3 for Jaime Garcia. And back to the top of the lineup, and Yunel Escobar. Pretty amazing, some of the stories of these players to get to the big leagues. Escobar defected from Cuba with 5 baseball players and 30 people on a 25-foot boat They were on the ocean for 3 days, and eventually they made it to the shores of Florida, and here he is in the big leagues. I'm sure you played with a number of those players that had a very similar story.
And a lot of their family members trying to do the same thing. Some of them didn't make it. Be turned around by boats, and a lot of crazy stories playing with a lot of Latin players around the league. And it's actually quite interesting and quite fun to hear some of those stories. Those are good nights in the back of the bus, back of the plane, and makes you realize how well we have it here in the United States.
There's a ground ball that's hit to Colton Wong. He gobbles it up over to Adams for the out. The Angels strand their first runner of the night. We're through 3. Cardinals on top. With Jim Edmonds and Jim Hayes, Stan McLaughlin with you from Angel Stadium in Anaheim, California. 4-0. So we get a look at our game summary. 4 consecutive hits in the second inning for the Cardinals, and Garcia has been sharp early on. It's 7, 8, and 9 for St. Louis. This is Randall Grichuk, who singled and scored back in that second inning. And a breaking ball is taken low and away. Matt Shoemaker from Rockwood, Michigan. Broke his left arm when he was in college. He was a corner infielder. They converted him at Eastern Michigan to a pitcher, and as I mentioned, non-drafted, and here he is in the big leagues. Took him a while to get here. He said his best memory ever was going up against Justin Verlander. He said Cecil Fielder was his favorite player from Michigan, Detroit his favorite team, and 7 shutout innings, and picked up a win with his family here.
Pretty cool to grow up going to old Tiger Stadium. What a great place that used to be.
Grichuk is swinging a miss.
Played my first game in Tiger Stadium. How about that?
Is that right?
Yeah. Got called up and flew all the way to Detroit. Thrown right in the starting lineup.
Grichuk, a base hit into right field. th season of interleague play in the previous 19 years. The Cardinals, in terms of winning percentage, the best of the National League teams. It's Arcia in the driver's seat. Those are National League teams. In the American League, the best has been the Yankees, and the American League has the edge over the National League by about 200 games in the head-to-head matchups. Here's Colton Wong, an RBI base hit back in the second with the bases loaded. Mike Moore, and a right-hander, getting loose in the pen right now for the Angels. 7 righties, 2 lefties in their pen. See if Grichuk wants to do some running with a 4-run lead.
Take a chance here. Maybe been paying attention to the way Gio's been throwing the ball back to the pitcher, and he even threw the ball a little awkwardly down to second base in between innings. So see if they try to take advantage of that.
Another check on Randal Grichuk. Cardinals with 6 hits, and Grichuk is 2 for 2.
Quick look at some of the better catchers that have been in this league in the past 20-something years.
Here's a 1-0. Grichuk is running, and that pitch is driven out to center field. Trout is back near the wall, and just enough room right in front of that 396 sign. By the way, did you talk about robbing home runs with Mike?
I knew you were going to say that. I actually asked him about last night, and he said that ball hit the tip of his glove, and he was frustrated as could be that he missed it. And I said, when you come back from that play, do you allow yourself to think of what happened, what went wrong? Obviously, we always think we should catch that ball. And I said, or do you just have to jump back into it and get ready to go? He said, nope, I should have caught it. What would you have done different? And he said, I just missed it on the timing just a tad bit. Obviously, if he's back there earlier, he can climb on the wall a little bit, but never going to give up.
Now a lead miss Diaz, and here's the play that we're talking about last night off the bat of Randal Grichuk.
I don't know if he could have timed this any better than he did, but I think he said he was just half of a step behind where he wanted to be.
Here's an 0-1 pitch to Diaz. Runner goes, swung on and missed, and a throw to second, and Grichuk has a stolen base. Mike Scioscia, former catcher himself, is claiming interference. That's Corey Blaze, the home plate umpire. It's close.
It's a tough slide by Randal right there.
Now it's 0-2 on a lead miss Diaz. Picked up an RBI, number 18, back in that second inning. Kept in front by Giovanni Soto.
Think about baseball's not a contact sport, except for when you're making contact with the ground.
Ouch. The face plant.
That is either a tooth or some gum that came flying out of his mouth. And look forward to seeing a little road rash on his chin tomorrow during batting practice.
Here's a 1-2 pitch to Diaz. Stays away. Boy, the sign of a good hitter or when a hitter's locked in is they just don't chase that pitch. And that's what Diaz does so well. You just don't see him many times chase a pitch outside the zone.
He's a polished young player.
That's a good way to put it. He is polished. The 2-2. Full count.
Talk about it so many times about the key to hitting being able to take tough pitches and not swinging at tough pitches. And usually you see the veterans that are really good at that. You see a young player that can do that like this. You know he's got either a good head on his shoulders, he's under control, or he's been taught at a young age.
3-2. Watch out. Well, you think about it when you're playing at the high level he was in Cuba. It's in many ways high level minor leagues mixed in with some major league players. And so he comes to the United States and he's ready to go. The 3-2 pitch to Aledmys Diaz. And a fly ball lifted into center. This will be out number 2. Grichuk draws a throw from Trout. And there's 2 outs. You know, the one thing about Mike Trout that TV maybe doesn't do it justice, Jimmy, is how big he is and how well he moves. I mean, this is a big man out there. Looks like a fullback or a linebacker and runs like a leadoff man.
I always laugh. I think he looks like Brian Urlacher.
He does a little bit.
Takes off the hat. Not maybe the face, but I'm talking about the size of the human being. And I've seen some guys in the NFL, they're not as on defense, that are not as big as he is.
Sure. Here's Carpenter. With 2 outs and a man at second. Matt with an RBI. Back in that second inning. His 22nd of the year. Already the 9th at bat for the Cardinals with a runner in scoring position. So we play with 2 outs here in the top of the 4th. Pulled foul. And it's no balls and 2 strikes. Grichuk, the base hit to right, then the stolen base. And a count of 0-2 on Matt Carpenter. Inside.
You can see here again, we talk about the shift. Look at the guys in the infield over to the right hand side, pounding him in with the kind of the slider cutter down and in, hoping he'll roll over, swing and miss. And look at Mike Trout standing off into the left center field side. A lot of room in that outfield.
Carpenter with 45 home runs from the leadoff spot, 197 RBIs since 2013. The next closest in that time period is Charlie Blackmon of Colorado, and he's 55 RBIs away from Matt Carpenter.
It's like you said last night. When do you decide to move him in the lineup? Or do you leave well enough alone?
Yeah, he's so comfortable, and he'll tell you from that top spot, and the numbers bear that out. Much different a year ago when he batted second as opposed to that leadoff position. And now time is called. But he's such a good hitter, you would think you could bat him third, fifth, sixth, and it wouldn't matter. But he's comfortable from this spot in the lineup.
Well, I think sometimes too, you think you have to change certain spots in the lineup.
The 2-2 is hit down the right field line and yanked foul.
His game is suited to be a leadoff hitter because he can take pitches. he's good at taking pitches, and maybe when he gets down lineup, he thinks he needs to go out there and swing the bat and drive in runs, and maybe it just kind of throws him off a little bit.
Most RBI, batting leadoff, the great Lou Brock at 588. And Matt Carpenter is 4th overall. He'll catch Vince Coleman this year. Big gap in right center and a 2-2 pitch to the Cardinal leadoff man. Just missed inside. Morin, the right-hander, is ready to go if the Angels elect to go to their bullpen. One way or another, this could be the final hitter for Matt Shoemaker. The 3-2. Spoiled by Carpenter. You mentioned it earlier, Jimmy. I mean, you watch Shoemaker, and a lot of these pitches are up in the zone and flat. You do that to a major league hitter, they will pound you.
Yeah, and he does. He gets on top of the ball, and when he gets the ball down in the zone, it really takes off and really rides. And it really reminds me of Michael Wacha. When he's on, his ball is downhill, down in the zone. And then when you leave it up, the ball flattens out and he gets hit.
3-2 is a high fly ball lifted into center. There's Mike Trout. Makes the catch. Cardinals have left 3 on. It'll be Calhoun, Trout, and Pujols coming up. He picked up his 5th home run of the season. Almost caught, though, by Mike Trout. With more on that, let's check in with Jimmy. Jim.
Yeah, Dan, that was anything but a no-doubter. That's because Grichuk's former minor league roommate and fellow first-round pick Mike Trout seemingly had it lined up in center. Grichuk admitted to me he froze in his tracks because he thought Trout had it. As he told me, I've seen him do it 100 times on the highlight shows. Of course, Trout didn't pull it back in. But he did have Grichuk over to his house for a late dinner. Dan, catch or no catch, those two guys are pretty good friends.
Yeah, roommates, as you said, in the minor leagues. And Mike Trout almost came up with one of those dazzling catches in center field. There's Cole Calhoun, followed by Mike Trout and Albert Pujols. Calhoun flied to left his first time up. Only blemish tonight for Jaime Garcia thus far was a walk to Shane Robinson back in the 3rd, and he was left stranded. That's pulled foul. You know, you remember back to this time last year, the Cardinals were just hoping to get anything out of Jaime Garcia. Get him back healthy, get him on the mound, but stay healthy. Take the ball every 5th day. They got that. And now you expect him to do that, which wasn't necessarily the case the last couple of years.
All about getting a little bit older, a little bit wiser about your work habits and your how much energy you put out there on your off days and how well you take care of yourself over the course of the season. And you just got to believe over time he's going to get a little bit smarter about that, keep you healthy longer, know when you're nagging and when you need to back off a little bit. Now we can see what he does when he's healthy.
That is nasty right there. The strikeout number 4 for Jaime Garcia. Chevy Fox Tracks. Take a look at this pitch. Brings in Mike Trout, who lined out to short first time up. His last 24 games prior to tonight, hitting above 350, 19 RBIs. You look at this lineup, you take care of Escobar and especially Trout, you've got a chance to win. Outside of those two, the Angels collectively, minus Escobar, minus Trout, are hitting around 210.
That's why they say when you come play this team, you always got to worry about those 2 big guys or 3 big guys. But yeah, this is like a collective situation you need to be a winning team. I mean, it just can't rely on this poor young man and the Albert Pujols that we thought that would turn it around eventually, get some pitching. I mean, this team has definitely been underachieving for a few years.
The 2-1 pitch by Garcia. Little grounder that's taken by Wong and safe at first. The hesitation there as Diaz wasn't sure if he was going to go for it. Wong then backed up, and with the speed of Mike Trout, he beats it out for an infield hit.
Wow. Flying.
You thought Garcia might get it, then you thought Diaz, and then Wong flat-footed a little bit on that play, and a tough play. The great speed of Mike Trout. And it brings in Albert Pujols.
Makes it a little bit easier to hit 300 when you can run like that.
Exactly.
Not much, but a little bit.
The great Rod Carew, fans know here so well, as Mike Matheny wants to take a look at that, but he would get out of slumps because of being able to bunt the ball and also decent speed. And all of a sudden he was out of a slump. He never went into prolonged slumps.
Well, he was a big fan of being able to throw down a bunt here and there. And like you said, keep himself out of a slump. But from everyone I've talked to in the game of baseball, they said Rod Carew could handle the bat better than anyone they'd ever seen. Maybe wasn't the best pure hitter of all times, but could handle the bat better than anyone.
Looking at the video board here at the Big A, he may be out on that play. Remember, it's where it hits the back of the glove of Matt Adams. So it can't be just going in the glove, it has to hit the back, and you see that. We'll see if they overturn it. Yes, they do. So the call is overturned, and Trout is the second out here in the 4th.
That is really close.
Real good look at it here. Tell you what, when it's usually that close, normally it's not overturned.
And that's funny. It's interesting that you say too is the ball obviously has to be in the glove, not kind of around the proximity of the glove, in the back of the glove. But it's so hard to tell on the replay because the replay is so slow. You can't tell when it hits the glove.
The strike to Pujols. Been a very tough start for Albert. Average down to 182. He struck out back in the 2nd. That's to the backstop. Pujols has had the most opportunities of anybody in their lineup with runners in scoring position. And in those spots, hitting just 179. Here at home, just 150. And overall, well below 200. One ball and 2 strikes, and now time is called.
You know, it's funny, I watch him hit, and I've watched him hit for so long, and usually when he's struggling, I can tell why and how and what's going on, and I don't see it. Just don't see why he's not hitting. I don't see, usually can see it in his stance. You can see where he's holding his bat. Sometimes he gets a little quick, so he's trying to speed up, getting pitched inside. I'm just not seeing anything watching him the last 2 days what would create him to be hitting under 200.
1-2 is bounced on the ground and off the glove of Carpenter and into left field. That'll be the 4th error on Matt Carpenter and the 27th error overall by the Cardinals.
I like how you beat the official score to the punch.
Usually those are gobbled up. C.J. Cron. Dad played in the major leagues, you may remember. Brother was drafted by the Mariners, and C.J. is here in the big leagues with the Angels. 2 outs and a runner at first is Pujols, and there's a fly ball out to deep center. Rich it back, he'll look up, and it's gone. The first hit of the night, a 2-run shot. The second for Cron, and it cuts into the lead. It's now 4-2. Errors will kill you.
He hit that ball a ton. He knew it when he hit it. It's a little different standing up here watching the game, knowing if the ball's been hit out of the ballpark or not, but hit that ball in the barrel and drove it a long way. Yep. You prolong the inning. You give another guy a chance. Maybe have a little bit of a letdown by the pitcher, knowing the ball should have been, play should have been made earlier.
It's extra pitches. It's also pressure on the pitcher with a runner on. Prolongs the outing. I mean, just nothing good. Pitch number 55 for Garcia tonight. And there's your ground ball to Aledmys Diaz. He's up with it. And the stretch by Adams. A 2-run homer. And the Angels get on the board with their first hit. It's now 4-2. Fans ages 16 and older will be a big hit in their new adult Cardinals pullover. This quarter zip short sleeve pullover features a bird on the bat logo. Get your tickets at cardinals.com/promotions. 4-2 St. Louis lead. It'll be Piscotty, Holiday, and Moss for St. Louis. Matt Shoemaker pitching into the 5th. After watching the second unfold, I didn't think he'd get this far.
I was going to say, you got to be happy about this if you're the Angels. Kind of got himself out of trouble. Still out there. You got to pitch into the 5th inning or through the 5th inning to get the win, so you might as well stay out there as long as you can.
Let's face it, they need innings from their starters. Here's an 0-2 pitch to Piscotty. Scotty seems to have really found a home in the second spot in this lineup.
Yeah, I think he's the perfect 2-hole hitter. I think that he drives the ball all over the place. He's patient. Got good power, can run a little bit.
You know, that's the thing. If Mike Matheny, as this season goes along, wants to mix and match with his lineup, he certainly can. We talked about it last night. Diaz could move up. Holiday, you know, you keep him in the middle of the lineup. You look at Piscotty being a guy that can drive in runs. Carpenter could drop down. And that's a base hit into left field past Brendan Ryan. So Steven is 1 for 3 tonight. Holiday, a big night. First game of this series, and it's a part of our Kubota Power Stats. Pujols with 39 interleague home runs. Edmonds 22. My partner tonight, Holiday and McGuire, both with 21. That'll be it for Shoemaker. Mike Scioscia and our Chevy call to the pen, following the leadoff base hit by Stephen Piscotty. Is the right-hander out of the bullpen for the Angels. Was an All-American at North Carolina and a Tar Heel. Drafted in the 13th round a couple of years ago by the Angels. Here he is in the big leagues. Pitched in 2 games during their last series over the weekend against the Rays. And we'll get Matt Holliday here. Runner at first, and the first pitch to Holiday. Breaking ball and a strike. Matt tonight is grounded out to short and also flied out to left. Morin made his big league debut back in 2014. Cardinals had all those extra base hits last night. And with one more here tonight with a double by Molina off the wall and right, they have 132 extra base hits. That leads all of Major League Baseball. They are 15th, though, in singles. A lot of all or nothing.
Go for a little bit of all right now.
And a check on Stephen Piscotty. We're going to have a special guest coming up. One Skip Schumacher.
Thought you were going to go with a big teaser, not give it away.
He's back there laughing. Why are you laughing? It's going to be fun.
He's laughing because he can't hear what we're saying.
Here's a 1-1 pitch to Holiday. Runner goes, hit and run, and that's hit out of play. Well, we've seen that, Jimmy. The Cardinals a little bit more aggressive here tonight. Grichuk the stolen base. Start the runner here with Holiday. Trying to get things going.
You got a good jump, too, and I'm wondering if they're trying to take advantage of Soto not throwing the ball as well as he used to. You can see all the coaches on the bench and coaches usually at first base got a stopwatch in their hand. Sometimes the teams in the American League aren't used to trying to keep runners on as much as they are in the National League. I think that's a time of the past, but it's definitely a different league still.
Here's a 1-2. Off-speed pitch and fouled back.
He wanted that one back.
Oh, yeah.
I saw that one coming from up here.
You know, you talked about it a lot, too, last night, how Holiday is able to keep himself back and wait back on off-speed pitches so well and then explode into the baseball. High leg kick and then just explodes into it.
Just when he comes down with that front foot, he just can't allow his hips to slide forward. If you stay back like that, stay inside the ball, he can hit the ball out at any place. The ball from right field to left field with power by just getting the barrel to the baseball. And being, what's the word we used?
Humongous.
There you go. It's a good word.
Here's a 1-2 instead of check on the runner. Piscotty at first. Look at the Hyundai pitch arsenal. Fastball, slider, and change. Mike Morin. Huge gap in left center field. Well, he telegraphs that pitch, doesn't he?
I was going to say he saw that one too. Sometimes you get, not very often, but sometimes you get a reliever or even a pitcher come in and throw the ball pretty hard, but for some reason they have to slow down a little bit to throw a breaking ball. And any kind of change in the body movement of a pitcher you can see, and you don't really know what it is at the time, but your mind can give you enough time to react and slow down. And
he got him. Quick feet there and picked off Piscotty. He's shaking his head. He's back up on the bag, and we'll see if the Cardinals want to take a review and a longer look at that. Immediately Piscotty got up as if to say, no, they didn't
He's
get
not
me.
leaving.
No. You're going to have to pry me off of first base. I'm not leaving.
Now not only do they have the replays and the manager, but now the player can stand on first base and say he's not leaving. I don't even think he touched him.
Throw beat him. Tag may not have touched him.
It's hard to tell there too.
Yeah. See, this is one of those situations, if they do replay this and want to challenge, where unless you have evidence that completely can overturn it, it will not be overturned. And those two replays, it's very tough to tell. 50-50 is what David Bell is saying.
Well, and as Piscotty's situation here, when you're hitting the ground, reaching for the bag, even if you do get tagged, sometimes you just can't feel it. I mean, you could slide into second base 100 times, and I bet you, unless you know you're out, you feel the tag probably
60% of the time, maybe if that.
Mm-hmm.
You just know the ball is beating you or it hasn't beaten you, and you can't tell where they're tagging you all the time. There's so many things hitting at the same time with the ground. And
oh, wow. Telegraph that again, and the pitcher calling for it. Then called off by Escobar. I think I've seen a pitcher make that catch one time in the last 15 years. Called off by Escobar, and now there's 2 outs.
You see this right here. I think Matt Holliday wants a few of these breaking balls back. This is like an ephus. You don't see that reaction from him very often. He got 3 of those in one at bat.
The pickoff of Piscotty closes the book on Matt Shoemaker. 4+, 4 runs, 7 hits, 1 strikeout, 1 walk, no home runs allowed. So here's Brandon Moss, who walked and scored and also popped out to third. A big swing and a miss. See now, and I saw you do this a handful of times. If you're Brandon Moss and if you can bunt, put the ball in play up the third base line, it's a base hit. Matt Adams has done that. Moss, I don't want to say he refuses to do it, but he's not going to do it.
He's not done it this year.
Nope. Didn't see it in spring training when you might want to tinker with something like that.
Well, you know, it's funny, early today, I don't know if you saw what you were here, they had a couple guys for the Angels that were working on their bunting.
Right.
And they weren't bunters, by the way. They were the catcher, and I don't know who the second guy was, but they're always working on something.
One of our favorites, Skip Schumacher, will be with us in the booth when we come back. Jim Edmonds, World Series champion right here. Skip Schumacher. I'm Dan McLaughlin. Jim Hayes is with us as well. Man, it's great to see you, Skip. How are you?
It's good to be back. Good seeing you guys. Yeah, this is awesome. I'd never seen this look on the field before, so this is pretty special.
It's pretty easy from up here, by the way.
Much easier. I just told that to my dad down there. I was like, gosh, it's so much easier right here. That's why you gave me such a hard time when I was playing.
I never gave you a hard time.
Not you, my dad.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No, you were great. It's
All
my
of our
dad.
dads.
Yeah.
How's life treating you?
Things are good. Yeah, just being dad and raising 2 kids and spending time with the wife. So it's been great.
Do you miss it?
I miss the guys. I miss the camaraderie. I miss the media, the clubhouse guys, from top to bottom. That's what I miss the most. The competition I don't miss. I was done taking ground balls at second. So
you'd had enough.
That's enough. I had enough. But I do miss just the friendships that I've created.
Jimmy and I were talking about this when we found out that you were retiring in spring training. I said I didn't like it when you went to second base. I understood it, and it wasn't because I didn't think you could do it, but I always felt that you were a very good, underrated outfielder defensively with a plus arm. And Jimmy said, of course, in the way that Jimmy can always say it, I went to Tony. I told him this is stupid.
Skip and I had that conversation a few times too.
Yeah, well, Jimmy was probably the best veteran. Him and Mabry, the two best veterans for me growing up, and I owe a lot of what happened with me in the big leagues to Jimmy and Mabes, and I was very fortunate to have both of them. But second base was just it was a need at the time, and we had some big hitters coming up, and they made me take ground balls at second, which was pretty embarrassing for a while. But
you did a good job.
But you know, it ended up working out at the end.
When you look back at your time in St. Louis, what stands out?
Well, not just the championships, but the friendships. I mean, the lifelong friendships. From day one, Jimmy brought me in, and still talk to him today. You know, Adam Wainwright still being one of my best friends. Just the relationships from the TV guys to the crew downstairs. I mean, you name it, you still talk to people, and really from St. Louis. You know, you don't have these relationships everywhere. And Mabry told me, hey, listen, whatever you do, don't compare St. Louis to any other organization, and now I know why.
Scott Rowland gave me the same advice. It's unbelievable. He said, you're going to come to Cincinnati, you're never going to have what you had in St. Louis before, and don't try to compare that to anything, and just go out there and play baseball like you know how to play, and it's a whole new experience. But I thought that was a very interesting piece of advice, and it changed a lot of the way I thought.
And by the way, you know, we look back on a serious note, baby Risa and the Stutzman family, and you raised so much attention for Krabbe disease and money. I know a lot of fans are curious about the family. How are they doing?
They're doing fantastic. They have a healthy baby boy.
That's great.
And another one on the way, which we got great news a few weeks ago. So, I mean, that's like a 1,000,000 chance. And Rocco is the son's name, big old huge stud. And then we don't know what's next. We think it's a boy. He's giving me hints it's a boy.
Is that right?
But it's been amazing. And just going back to what we were talking about earlier, you can't do that everywhere.
Yeah.
And St. Louis embraced it, and very fortunate to be a part of it.
Are you going to get back in the game in some capacity?
That was
I don't
a
know.
lot longer than the answer you gave me yesterday.
Oh man, we'll see. We'll see. I really love the game. That hasn't changed. In what capacity, I'm not sure. I love the guys, like I said. I'm not sure if that means coaching, if that means special assistant type stuff, radio stuff. I don't know. I'm open to anything. So we'll see what happens. I'm not jumping at the first thing.
I bet you missed, though, the 1st and the 15th.
Those are zeros now. So, yeah, I definitely missed those days. Yeah.
Go ahead, Jimmy.
Yesterday you said to someone, I forgot who you were talking about, that it's a little awkward right now, isn't it? Like, my thing was the first year off, that window about 3 o'clock, you think you're supposed to be somewhere and you're not really there. So it's a little weird right now.
Hold that thought. Because there's a strikeout, so now we got to go pay the bills. Okay, so we got to go to a break. But here's one of the great memories as we flash back. What a hit this was, and a battle against Roy Halladay. The only run in that game. Chris Carpenter went the distance. That scored Rafael Furcal. In a game that we'll always remember, 2011, that epic series against the Phillies. St. Louis, Skip Schumacher, the game-winning RBI as we showed you going to break. World Series champion. A .288 career average with the Cardinals and 4 career innings pitched. I'm sure that's the highlight of your career.
I thought it was going to be until Aaron Miles took me about 580 feet over the bullpen.
I remember that.
Of all guys. I mean, really, Aaron Miles? Oh, man, what a nightmare.
So what is it like, as Jimmy said, it's different when you get that first year out of the game?
It's different. It was an emotional few weeks, that's for sure. When the season started and you're not in there, as Jimmy was kind of saying, the structure, you're always structured as a ball player. You know what time you have to be where every single day of your life. And when you don't have that anymore, it's a really weird feeling being at home and not being told what to do.
Other than your wife.
I mean, I shouldn't say not completely.
But, she's not listening right now. Don't worry about it.
So, but that's a different part of life for sure.
Yeah.
That's been the last 18 years of my life. So, but it's a nice adjustment, that's for sure.
It was interesting. We were in San Diego, and here's Yadier Molina, and you were, for fans that don't know, at spring training with the Padres, and they said, well, Skip would have made our club if he wanted to stay. So that was, strictly just kind of the game was out of your system. It was time to move on?
Yeah, it was time to move on. I was done being terrible, and that's honestly the truth. I can't just hold on to just play to play. I really wanted to feel like I was productive on the team and help a team win games. And maybe I could have. I think it was more of a good play. Kind of a leadership role maybe on the bench and helping the young guys get through some tough times there. But for the most part, I was done being bad. That's really the answer to that question.
You've always said that. .288 career hitter in St. Louis.
Those were some good times. It wasn't so good later in the career.
Yeah, I understand. I get it.
So for me, I didn't watch. Have you been watching, or is that one of the things, the adjustments you have to make to not miss it? Is first year I just really backed away and didn't watch the game of baseball.
Well, I would say I would if my son wasn't totally into it. So, my son will watch 9 innings, sit down, watch 9. And so if I'm going to watch a game, it's going to be the Cardinals or the Padres. Those are my two, or, the Reds, Dodgers too. But the Cardinals and Padres are kind of what I'm locked into right now. With the most recent guys that I've played with the Padres and obviously the Cardinals with, my second home. So that's really what I've been keeping track of.
So you had him here last night. Was he pulling? Did he not want to leave? When this time, I think you left early last night a little bit. Was he pulling on your shorts?
The fourth inning he wasn't too happy about. That, taking
that is
off.
A little early.
Yeah, it was, but he's got a 7:30, 8 o'clock bedtime, and it was time to go. But it's so much fun. That was the second game I've ever been to sitting down with my son. So that was a pretty special moment, and something I took in for sure.
When you reflect back on 2011, is it still as special for the players now removed from it as it is for the fans?
Yeah, I mean, I think Jimmy can attest to. I don't think that ever goes away. I mean, that's just when you see those highlights and stuff of the playoffs and the World Series games. I mean, it feels like it was yesterday. I mean, because it was so exciting. There's so much adrenaline. You're not sleeping, and a sense of relief when it's over, win or lose.
Yeah.
And but to win it, I don't think those feelings ever really go away.
What is it about St. Louis that makes this situation here thrive and guys win? And it's been a winning tradition for so long, but the last 2 decades, it's been unbelievable. You played with other spots. What is it about St. Louis?
Well, it's first class, top to bottom. First off, you go from the GM, down to the clubhouse guys, to the traveling secretary. You name it. It's first class. TV guys, it's first class. But then also the veterans are like no other. You look at how you had Chris Carpenter and Edmonds and Rowland, and these guys were teaching the young guys on how to play the game right and on and off the field.
Yeah.
And it just keeps carrying over, and they keep drafting or signing not only good players but quality people, and that's a big thing.
We were talking about this too. Jimmy was with Reggie Sanders, and there was a player that was late to spring training. Yeah. And Jimmy took his stuff out of that locker, and they said, that guy right there, Skip, we want him over here. Who, by the way, do you remember that?
Bo Hart. Yeah, I remember it.
It was Bo?
It was Bo Hart, yeah.
Well, that was after he hit 400 for the month. He was out of there.
Yeah, I remember that, and I was scared to death because they put me right in the fire. And it's a big boys. Those aren't just, I might be touched.
Call it.
No,
do some play-by-play.
You
going to stick around one more half inning?
Yeah,
okay,
absolutely.
Good. Very nice to be with Skip Schumacher, one of his former teammates right there, Adam Wainwright. More with Skip coming up. On television, you can now stream games live on your mobile device. Just go to your app store, download the free Fox Sports Go app, log in, stream the Cardinals wherever you go. Jim Edmonds, Skip Schumacher with us. And just a few moments ago, we caught Adam Wainwright. I mean, this is just shocking to see this.
This is what Skip taught him.
I mean, this guy.
Yeah, we got the security guy. Awesome.
That's the thing, is that 4 days in between, he's a goofball.
Yeah.
And then game day, it's like you can't even talk to this guy, right? He's like the biggest bad mofo out there, but 4 days in between, he's keeping it loose, and he's an awful dancer. I don't know why he keeps doing that. Jeez.
Here's Escobar, and he looks at a ball from Jaime Garcia. You know, we talk about 2011. You were part of the 2006 team. Obviously, Jimmy was, and so was Adam Wainwright. When you look back at that team, and this is for both you guys, and there's a ground ball that's hit to Colton Wong, looking like a young Skip Schumacher. When you look back at that team, I mean, who would have thought here we are 10 years later, and Adam Wainwright's turned out to be one of the best pitchers in baseball for the last decade, but what he did down the stretch was just incredible in 06.
Incredible, and really probably only he thought he could do it, you know, to be honest with you. You know, he's never lacked confidence, and he never will tell anybody that he's the best, but he really believes and believed and still does believe that he was the best, and he could close out a World Series. And I don't think without Adam Wainwright you win that World Series. No, not even close.
Not even close.
And you know, the 11 one he wasn't even on, but he was probably the biggest cheerleader we had. So we needed him in 06 and 11 just the same.
How about for you, Jimmy? Did you know that he was going to turn out to be this kind of a pitcher for this long a time?
No, you never know what you're going to get. I mean, obviously a high draft pick with the Atlanta Braves, and you get him in a trade. And, man, I mean, talking about being thrust into the spotlight. But I'll tell you what, after the first couple appearances he made in the postseason, I was all for bringing him in at any time. So it's weird when you watch players like that, when you play with a guy like Skip, and you see them want to move him to second base. Two of the reasons, because we needed him there, and also to keep him relevant on our team and get him back in the lineup. And then you get a guy like Wainwright and you say, well, you don't want to see that move, and then you don't want to see him move to the starting rotation because you know how dominant he was as a closer. But when you have a true talent like that, a guy that can play like Skip, I mean, you can throw them anywhere on the field and they can do the job. But no, I didn't think right away that you would see the Adam Wainwright that we see today.
Skip, do you remember the game ball started by Jimmy?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, that was
Ronnie Belliard.
Started in San Diego when he made that ridiculous play in the 4-hole, and I mean, he deserved that for sure. I mean, and that's kind of what started that whole. I mean, it was fun. People were looking forward to that after each game, and you know, it was fun to win, but it was also fun in the clubhouse.
And the rally monkey is out.
Yay.
The rally monkey. He said the one thing we missed about the game last night was we had no rally monkey because it was such a blow-up.
Saw everything else, and even the rally monkey went home. So base hit by Calhoun. It brings in Mike Trout. And with you, Skip, living in Southern California, you get the chance to watch this guy every night.
It's the best player in our generation. We got to play at Pujols. That was the best player when I played, and I think this is going to be the best player in my son's generation, him and Harper. He's incredible. It's who my son wants to be, and every Orange County kid wants to be. And you stop what you're doing when he's up at the plate.
You talk with Albert much?
I do. I saw him yesterday, and him and Didi, and same guy. Obviously not feeling 100% healthy and just trying to grind through it. But that's Albert. He's not going to sit the bench. He's going to do whatever he can to get on the field. And it's tough to watch him struggle. That's for sure.
Really is.
You remember him, 330 with 30 every year, and to watch him struggle is tough for a lot of his old teammates to watch. And but you hope he pulls through, and you got to bet on Albert.
I was telling Jimmy before the game, and having the chance to cover most of his career in St. Louis, we saw the best of his career, and then to only see him a handful of times throughout the season, either we're on the air, can't watch him play, but watching him in these first two games, it's not the same player.
It's tough, and he's been fighting, those knee injuries and the foot injury for the last couple of years, and after talking to him, I don't think he was supposed to be ready to June or July, what he was saying, and for him to be on the field is pretty incredible for him. And like I said before, he's going to be on the field struggling before he's sitting on the bench and not being productive for his team.
Did you guys as players just sit back sometimes and say, how did he do that? I mean, how is he that good?
I had the worst job in America. I had to go up to the plate after he had hit, and the catchers are either upset or shaking their heads in amazement.
6-4-3 double play off the bat of Mike Trout.
Skippy, thank you.
All right.
Appreciate it, buddy.
Yeah.
Great to see you.
Thanks so much for having me on.
You're the best.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Great seeing you.
Thanks for stopping by.
Of course.
The rally squirrel, how could we forget? In front of Skip Schumacher. And that little fella is on the 2011 World Championship ring. Well, you're known for a lot of things, including a squirrel. Thanks, Skip.
You're known for something, right?
Cardinals Hall of Famer Jim Edmonds and Jim Hayes. I'm Dan McLaughlin. We're from Angel Stadium in Anaheim, California. And the Cardinals have a lead of 4-2. It's great seeing Skip. Man, what a class act he was and is. Such a good guy.
Always nice to get somebody like that up in the booth for a while.
Really is.
Good to hear from him. Let the people hear he's doing great. It's good to see him. It was awesome to see him yesterday during batting practice, and came back for a second day in a row, which took me a few years to get to a couple games.
But here you are now on a nightly basis.
Here I am.
You enjoying this?
Only because of you.
That's
I love it.
My guy. You better be enjoying this.
I'm enjoying it.
Good.
It's a lot better than being down there facing a guy like this right now.
This guy's tough on lefties. You can see why. 4-2 St. Louis. All 4 runs for the Cardinals scored in the second inning. That hits Wong. We're going to try to get Skip to come back with that reunion of the 2016.
This is why sometimes the booth is good. Just a bit inside.
Uh-huh. Cam Bedrosian, a right-hander, getting loose in the pen. So here's Aledmys Diaz. Wong hit by the pitch. Diaz with an RBI and a sac fly back in the second. And a high fly ball lifted out to center. Trout spun around. He's at the track and makes the catch. Runner tags up. Throw is on the money. Look at that throw from Mike Trout. Wow. Isn't it fun to watch guys throw that can let it loose like that?
I'm surprised as big as he is, he can throw as well as he does. And you can see here, he gets behind it, but he's not really behind it right here. And he gets rid of it in a hurry. And smart decision by Colton right there going back to first base.
Usually it's the guys that are kind of long and lanky and they take it back far and let it go on top. And you just don't see a lot of guys today's day and age of baseball throw like that.
No, and like it's amazing, like you said too, as big and strong as he is, everything is short and quick, and even his arm.
Carpenter drops down a bunt, advancing on the play. It's Colton Wong to second base. This is our Gateway Honda home run inning. Cardinals hit a home run. The Gateway Honda dealers donate $1,000 to the Make-A-Wish Foundation. Mike Scioscia will go to his bullpen again. Bedrosian has been getting loose to face Stephen Piscotty. So with a runner in scoring position, Piscotty, a chance to add to the Cardinals' lead when we come back. Sunday, May 22nd. Kids 15 and younger entering with a ticket receive a performance t-shirt courtesy of Pasta House. Children under 48 inches will also take home a free Six Flags ticket. 30,000 fans receive a family attraction savings card. Get your tickets at cardinals.com/promotions. This is the son of Steve Bedrosian, who pitched a long time in the major leagues. Cam Bedrosian, his 9th appearance, good ERA, and he's in to face Stephen Piscotty with a runner at second base. Piscotty is grounded out, lined out. then singled to left. Two outs, runner at second, and a good breaking ball.
What do you think about when you sit up here? You've been sitting up here for so long, and you see a guy like this come along, and I don't know if maybe Bedrosian would be the great example, but probably get to call some games, and now you see their kids coming up.
There's a few that I have. There's some of the guys that, well, I'll tell you what, talking with Albert the other day, and he's telling me Isabella is now 18,
yeah.
and his son is on the varsity team in golf. When I remember AJ running around as a little guy in the clubhouse. It's funny, but you don't realize that they age. You know, you think about those kids that they're always going to be that age.
Yeah, and if you don't see them for a while,
exactly,
and all of a sudden walk in, like the other day, I haven't seen AJ in a year, and looks like a totally different kid. But I think it's neat. I think it's great. These bloodlines, these guys come up to the big leagues. You see that the Rasmus brothers both in the league now.
I also think, what does a guy like Steve Bedrosian do to help his kid get to the big leagues? I mean, obviously bloodlines, and you know, there's talent in the gene pool clearly, but what do you do as a young guy, and what did your dad do to help you to get you to this level? Because there's a lot of father-son combinations in this game.
I think the best thing that they can teach their kids is just how to just go about their business on a daily basis. And I know that sounds crazy, but even like my son, you know, sometimes I have to tell him, hey, you're not going to win every game. You're not going to get a hit every time. It's okay to play a better team. Just the little things, and it ends up becoming part of their mental makeup and just keeps driving them to be better. And obviously, you can teach them how to pitch. You can teach them what to throw and what hitters are looking for as they get a little bit older to understand. But there's a lot of things, just like teaching. You see families with good kids. Why are their kids so good? Because they have good parents. I mean, it's just, you teach them constantly how to do things the right way.
I'd be curious, too, how Steve Bedrosian handled his son in terms of how much he was allowed to pitch growing up. What other positions? What other sports did he play? I mean, you talk to athletes now, the number one thing I hear from all of them is tell your kids to play multiple sports. Don't be in just one sport. And then when you're in that sport, don't isolate with one position. Learn to play other positions and enjoy the sport. Have fun with it.
That's definitely the way I would approach it, and that's the way I'm approaching it with my kids. But I don't know, maybe Jim Hayes has a project for tomorrow. Go down there and find out.
There it is.
On the field reporting.
You want to know from Cam Bedrosian.
I would love to hear that. That is a great thing. I did a thing with Mike Trout today, and I really didn't know what to ask him because people want to hear from both sides, from my experience and his experience. I want to hear what you just asked.
Yeah.
That is a great conversation to have with a person like that who's grown up with a big league parent, especially as a pitcher.
Yeah. And especially with all the injuries in the game today, you know, was he handled differently? Did his dad know more than the average dad in terms of how to raise a pitcher, if you will? Well, he didn't teach him that. That's a base hit into right. And Stephen Piscotty adds to the Cardinal lead with a 2-out base hit into right field. That scores Colton Wong, and it's 5-2 St. Louis.
That looked like some kind of a slider breaking ball that didn't come down. Kind of rolled up there, and Steven did a great job of staying inside it. Yep, big curveball that just didn't finish. Good piece of hitting right there.
It's a good player. So here is Holiday with 2 outs and a runner at first. 0 for 3 tonight after a big game 1. It's a good night so far to be a St. Louis sports fan. The Blues advance to the Western Conference Finals, and the Cardinals trying to make it 2 straight over the Angels. They lead 5-2 here in the top of the 7th. Also find it fascinating how different teams over the years approached having kids in the clubhouse and how much they were on the field to shag balls and those kind of things. How much they learned by just being around the game, being around the best in the world.
I mean, look what it's done for the Matheny kids. You know, they were
Exactly.
around all the time. Tate thrived in high school. Now he's in the minor leagues. Kids are in college. They were on the field all the time in the outfield with me and running around. And
Did they ask you questions?
they were too young to ask questions, but I think they just listened. I remember Mike always saying, be seen and not heard.
There's a high fly ball into right field off the bat of Holiday, and that's the final out. So base hit by Piscotty, his second of the night, his 15th multi-hit game. Makes it 5-2 St. Louis. Both on the bench and in the bullpen for the Cardinals. The Cardinals have some of the fewest opportunities for saves this year. When they win, they put up big numbers offensively. Not a lot of tight games, so not many chances for Trevor Rosenthal, so he is plenty rested. And even if it's a non-save situation, you may see him pitch in this game. And here is Albert Pujols to start the bottom of inning number 7. I'm curious your thoughts on this. I was thinking about this earlier with Albert Pujols. He has 5 years left on his deal after this season and a bunch of money obviously left on that contract. Nearly $150 million. Albert has said if he's not playing up to the level that he's used to, he would step away. The one thing he can still do is hit a home run. And if you look at where he's at right now, he's 13th all time as he lines that foul with 566 home runs. I just wonder if he would stay in the game long enough to catch Barry Bonds. He is going to have a shot, you would think, in 5 years. If he stays healthy, puts up 25 to 30 home runs a year, which he's certainly capable of doing, if that would be enough to keep him going.
I mean, I think that he's going to figure it out. I think that it's going to take someone. I mean, I wish that I had some time to spend with him because I think I have a really good relationship with him. And when he struggled when he first got here in Anaheim and I was retired, I came to the ballpark one day and came walking through the back door and I said, okay, let's get you straightened out. See right here, he just doesn't look like he's covering the outside part of the plate. Like he's one of those things that guys get pitched in a lot and you just start looking in too much and it takes you a long time to get back on track. But I feel like somebody needs to come to him and say, this is the way you used to look. These are the things you used to do. What's different? can't just keep blaming it on injuries. And I'm not saying he is, but like for me, I struggled for a year and a half with concussion syndrome, and I tried to get a little quicker with my hands. I raised my hands. I did all these things, and I couldn't hit the ball the other way. And I woke up one day and was like, I couldn't hit the ball off the pitching machine like I used to, like a line drive into this one pole that's holding up the netting in the cage in the under the stadium. And I thought, I got to figure out how to do that again.
Yeah.
And it took me a little bit of time, and I had to lower back my hands, spread my feet back out, and go after it. I had an injury on my foot. I had a concussion, all these different things. But, you know, when it comes down to it, there's mechanics are there for a reason. You've been successful for all this time. You're doing something different. And until someone does that to him, or until he figures that out, he might continue to struggle until that is brought into his thought process. But it doesn't look like the same player, and it's just couldn't be the smallest little thing.
And again, not to blame injuries. You wonder about his base. You know, that's the one thing I've noticed with him. Again, I saw the majority of his at-bats, clearly, doing the games. But his base doesn't seem to be...
Doesn't seem to be the same.
Exactly.
Doesn't look like it's bad. Doesn't be the same.
It's not the same.
And who else does that remind you of? Alan Craig.
Yeah, exactly.
Same guy. Talk to the same guy, smiling all the time. He's loving it. He knows he's struggling. Something is just not the same. And it's not because he's 4 years older. You know, everyone talks about Matt Holliday being 36, and I keep saying to myself, I was 36 when we won the World Series, and I was having a pretty good year until I hit my head and had a concussion, and we had a tough time, but I was able to come back. Guys are able to come back and play at a high level at 36, 37, and a guy like Matt Holliday, I laugh every time someone says he's the oldest guy on the team, and he's 36 years old, and I said, I'm waiting for him to take off at 36 years old.
Moss can't come up with it. It drops for a base hit. Pujols on his way to third. Throwing to second, not in time. And that'll be a double for Giovanni Soto. So the tying run will come to the plate at Giovanni. Mike Matheny now, it's decision time. Pitch count is only at 84. He's got Seung-Hwan Oh warming up in the pen.
See, this ball gets in the gap, not really sure. It looks like Brandon had a better angle to get to the ball, but not being a left fielder full time, that is a tough play to ask him to go and get. Make that play in the gap.
Late innings, you may see Hazelbaker come in this game. Defensive purposes. So runners at second and third. Garcia struck out 6 in this game.
This is the part of the game right here where you want to see Jaime really pull it together and really get down to it and make some good pitches. This is the part of the mental toughness you need to have that he's been lacking in the past, where everyone says he's getting better each year as you get older, to go out there and really shut down an inning when something isn't going right. And this is where you really got to suck it up and get through this inning.
So 2 on, 1 out, 1 ball, no strikes. Giovanni with a pair of groundouts. You saw there a lot of strikes being thrown by Garcia here tonight. He's been in command.
He's only got 85 pitches. So.
Right. Here's a 1-0. Good breaking ball.
Talk about the big inning. This is what I was talking about, where you have to recognize this is the spot you got to stop, back off the mound, and really bear down and not allow these runs to score and keep your team ahead.
Here's a 1-1 pitch. Corners are in. Pulled foul. That's why you take that lead in foul territory. Hits Pujols. It's a dead ball. Fair territory. He's out.
And another injury.
Exactly. It's the last thing he needs.
Still can move. See, I'm telling you, he can still move.
Garcia would love the strikeout. What do you think he comes with here on 2-2?
I like the right there. He went in twice in a row, in off the plate. So maybe that same sinker down and away, firm, a little bit running off the plate, or even because he came in twice, maybe even something soft away. Tried to go away and missed.
This may be the biggest pitch of the night right here for Jaime Garcia. He got him, took some off it. How about that pitch on 3-2?
It's a great pitch right there. Obviously missed with the off-speed pitch the pitch before, and he came back with it. And that right there is not what the hitter is looking for. That's a great job by Yachty calling that pitch, and a great job by Jaime executing the pitch that he needed to make right there. We're talking about, you can't get frazzled out there no matter what's going on. You just have to keep it under control and go pitch by pitch, because you can be one pitch away from getting into it, grounding in a double play, big strikeout. You never know what's going to happen if you can keep your composure.
Bottom of the order has been quiet for the Angels tonight. The 0-1 pitch to Shane Robinson. Inside with a fastball.
I like it. Still being aggressive. Still trying to get inside. Still pitching the way he started the game, establishing fastballs in.
Here's a 2-1. Took some off it again. 2-2. So to get that strikeout, he's gone soft.
Well, you see what last couple pitches, after you look at this changeup again, that he's been challenging the hitters. He's been pitching in, and he threw a fastball in to Shane the pitch before, and Yachty gave him the great pitch he just missed. So now as a hitter, you're thinking, man, he's trying to challenge me right here. He's going to try to get me out inside, and just when he does that, he throws him a changeup, makes a great pitch.
The 2-2 steps off the rubber. Molina wants to talk about this pitch. Garcia, one strike away from his 8th strikeout tonight.
Yachty does a great job right here. He's so good at this. He gets in a situation where he sees the pitcher that's not 100% comfortable. He steps off the back of the rubber, and he wants to go out there and just make sure that that's the pitch he wants to throw.
The 2-2 struck him out. Molina fires to first, and the Angels strand 2. Jaime Garcia with 8 strikeouts, and he strikes out the side here in the bottom of the 7th. 5-2 St. Louis. Lewis. And now it's time for crickets, something to smile about. If this hit him, I'm not so sure we'd be smiling. But Albert able to avoid that hard hit balls. The runner down at third. And we move to the 8th. It'll be Moss, Molina, and Adams. And we were talking between innings, Jimmy. What a job by Yadier Molina. The pitch calling and the selection there.
That makes all the difference in the world for your guy on the mound. Your catcher is still giving you the, hey, great pitch, even though you just missed it. Just keep throwing that ball. And then, like you said, he goes out there to make sure 3-2. He knows what he wants to do. It's one of those things why I don't like a lot of the speed up rules in the game today with the pitcher, because there's so much going on with the pitcher and the catcher and the infielders making sure, and the pitcher's got to believe in what's going on. And you know, the catcher's job is to go out there and make him believe in what he's doing. And so you start putting clocks and shot clocks and timers and stuff.
You love those.
You know what I love? I love the fact that when I played with Mike Matheny, now watching Yachty and play with Yachty, that they control the game. They should be able to control the game. Some guys go out there too much. You know, they're not smart enough to understand everything that's going on. Number 4 knows what's going on, and because of number 22 before him, these guys do it the right way. And I love to watch it. And he did a good job in that last inning.
1 ball and 2 strikes. The leadoff man is Brandon Moss. Moss slowly hit. Tough play. Escobar off balance and threw it away. That's his 6th error of the year and his 2nd in as many nights. So Moss, it'll be a base hit and an error on Escobar.
That was almost your bunt right there.
Well, that's what I want. I want my bunt. I want to see one before the year is through. All nurses report to Busch Stadium Thursday, May 19th. Nurses Night at the ballpark. And with the purchase of this special theme ticket, fans receive a special edition Cardinals scrub top. It's at cardinals.com/theme.
We got a couple of scrubs up here in the booth tonight.
I like how this is written too. All nurses report to Busch Stadium stat. A fastball and a strike on Yadier Molina.
Trying to move the runner over right there. No doubt to anyone in the entire stadium.
You know, we were talking about Rod Carew, and I think about back control with Yadier Molina. Does such a good job at being able to go the other way. Just like that. Lines it to his buddy Pujols, and it's a double play.
And I was about ready to give him a high five for such great bat control, and then got to go back and give Albert a high five for such a great throw and reaction, doubling up the runner at second base. How quickly things can change.
The one thing I've said an awful lot about the Cardinals, and this year it's been a down year defensively, but the word I use to describe the defense and the teams that you played on, fearless. Albert was fearless late in innings, going to third to get a lead man. Molina with pickoffs. You obviously, great defender. Edgar Renteria, fearless. Scott Rowland, one of the best third basemen defensively ever to play the game. I mean, those teams were fearless, and it won games, especially in late innings.
Athletic is a good thing to have on defense. Being a team that's athletic. I remember playing with Mark Grudzielanek, and I thought, this is the best second baseman I've ever seen. And the reason I said that is because he could do so much athletically on the field, at the plate. Wasn't the best player on the field, but he could do everything you asked him to do. And it was fun to watch.
Good player on a team that won 100 games back in 2005. As Salas has a scoreless frame in the top of the 8th. to you by Bud Light. Raise 1-2 right now. And by your local Volkswagen dealer. Gorgeous night here in Southern California. What else? Along with the Cardinals Hall of Famer Jim Edmonds and Jim Hayes, I'm Dan McLaughlin, our entire Fox Sports Midwest crew. This is Kevin Segrist in our Chevy Call to the Pen. He already has 4 wins this year. Trying to pick up a hold in relief of Jaime Garcia, who was outstanding tonight. Arguably his best inning was the last inning of work when he struck out the side. And the Angels had the tying run at the plate.
How's my scorebook looking tonight? That's where we're at.
Well, you're up to date through the 3rd.
I was getting so good at this, and then tonight it fell apart.
Well, Skip came in the booth. We were reminiscing, and you know,
good game.
Yeah. Here's Brendan Ryan. So you played with Brendan Ryan, and Brendan, let's just say he could be a little offbeat.
Offbeat. I asked him a couple times not to wear the same shirt over and over and over in the clubhouse, and he kept wearing it. And I told him
there's a ground ball hit to second.
That if he kept wearing it, I was going to cut it up like I'd been taught when I was a rookie. And he wore it underneath his dress shirt one day. I think he was really superstitious. So I came in early from batting practice and I cut his shirt up into about 1,000 pieces. I think he still has it. I guarantee you he still has a piece of this pink polo shirt somewhere in his either house, probably in his back pocket. Didn't make any sense.
Nope. It's Brandon Moss, by the way, at first base. Hazelbaker is in left. Yunel Escobar is 0 for 3. Hit down the right field line, and that'll get out of play. Want a great deal on tickets? Fill up at Phillips 66 with 8 gallons or more now until September 29th. And receive up to 50% off on a pair of tickets to a Cardinals home game. For more information, visit cardinals.com/Phillips66. The 1-1 pitch to Escobar. Back to Segrist. Runs it over to first and flips to Moss for out number 2. Plaza Tire Fox Tracks, and you talked about it earlier, Jimmy, the downward plane of some of the guys that are a little bit taller. That's the slider there from Kevin Segrist. You can understand why this guy would be really tough.
First couple pitches he threw right away in the inning and just down and a little bit of crossfire too, so he can really get in on a right-handed hitter. And you hear Mike talk about, and guys talk about how he's not just a lefty specialist and that is the reason why, because of that running or cutting. It's not even a cutter, it's just an angled fastball that can really get in on a right-handed hitter. Throws across his body.
Works from the third base side of the rubber as Joe Smith is warming up. Closer for the Angels. Needs some work as they have really struggled. 4 in a row they have lost, 8 of their last 10. And during the 4 games, they've only scored 6 runs. Here's a 1-1 pitch to Cole Calhoun. Look at where Segrist steps to, Jimmy. I mean, he's coming at the lefty and then throwing across the body.
Yeah, he's got a little bit of a funky motion. Really tall, and like I said, crossfiring. Crossfiring is the worst thing you want to see as a hitter. The ball just doesn't stay in the zone for very long, and then throw in 93 to 95 on top of that.
Ooh, just missed. Little bit low. That pitch at 95. Remember when he first broke into the big leagues, he was around 98, 99. Had an ERA under a half run. It was incredible.
For good reason.
Yeah. Nasty. Popped foul and out of play. We'll do it again. No foul balls have arrived in our booth tonight. Didn't say that last night. Thought you might bring your glove. I was ready for it.
Still looking for a glove so I can play catch with my son. The only baseball glove that I have right now is downstairs in the locker room in the coach's lockers in a bag deep somewhere that I can't get to right now. Half bag will travel though.
Absolutely.
Just can't find it.
Mike Trout on deck and then Pujols. Mike Trout saw that ball off the back screen and still made the play.
I was going to say another great play by Mike Trout.
Does a great job, by the way, with the fans before the game. I was watching that last couple of nights, all the autographs and pictures. Here's a 3-2 pitch from Kevin Segrist. Driven out to left center field, tailing, but there he is, Randall Grichuk, and he puts it away. Good work by Kevin. We head to the ninth. Redbirds on top. It's 5-2. Well, you may have noticed the pins that we wear during the open of our telecast, and also Jim Hayes wears that, the pre and the post game shows, and that pin supports NAMI, the National Alliance on Mental Illness, and their commitment to improving the lives of families and those affected by mental health conditions. Learn more and visit foxsportsupports.com. Well, he is the closer of the Angels, needs some work. That's Joe Smith. Side armor, very tough on right-handers. And the first man that'll face in our Chevy Colt to the pin is Randall Grichuk. 16 innings, 17 hits, ERA of 4.5. First pitch to Grichuk. Hit to second, one pitch, one out. This copyrighted telecast presented by the authority of the Cardinals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. The accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals. Brings in Colton Wong. Well, Joe Smith has made baseball his life and also fighting Huntington's disease, which is what his mom suffers from. Neurodegenerative genetic disorder. He said, quote, "The way I describe it, it's Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and dementia all wrapped up into one. It's nicknamed the Devil's Disease. It affects 1 in 30,000 people." And Joe has been diligent in that fight, raised a lot of money for it, a lot of awareness. 1 ball, 1 strike on Colton Wong. As a left-handed batter, you would think that they'd get a pretty good look at Joe Smith.
That's that thing right there. You're talking about crossfiring, though. You see what Colton Wong got a fastball away and then something else away, and then he kind of tried to dive out there a little bit. And you saw the ball kind of just, he throws him something that's cutting, and it chases right into his belt.
Hit to second again for out number 2. The Cardinals in this game picked up 4 runs in the second inning. And that was off the starter, Matt Shoemaker, then picked up another run in the 7th. They lead at 5-2. Diaz picked up an RBI in that top of the second. Average has dipped, we say dipped, to 386. What a start. That pitch right there is where he can be effective against these righties.
Coming down sidearm a little bit, tight rotation, especially for guys who haven't faced him a whole lot.
Diaz didn't like the call. No balls, 2 strikes. Rosenthal is throwing in the Cardinals' pen. Seth Maness also throwing. Cardinals would extend this lead. You see Maness. If not, more than likely Rosenthal. Strikeout of Diaz and a 1-2-3. We head to the bottom of the 9th. The heart of the order coming up for the Angels. Trout, Pujols, Cron. difference maker, and it's Mike Trout, who has been in the top 2 the last 4 years of the MVP. Won it back in 2014. Miguel Cabrera in 12 and 13. Josh Donaldson last year with Toronto.
That's pretty impressive. Albert had that stretch where he was behind Barry a couple years, and he won 3. So no Barry Bonds, no Miguel Cabrera, and you got 5 to 6 or 7 MVPs sitting back to back right here in this lineup.
At least 5. I think Pujols would have won 5, at least in St. Louis.
Can you imagine?
Oh,
What's Barry have? 7?
7.
6 or 7?
So here's Mike Trout, bounced into a double play his last time up against Trevor Rosenthal. He sends that high in the air into right center field for the first out.
I think the thing that amazes me is there were some years that he had Albert in St. Louis that were better than the years that he won the MVP. And he lost out to Barry because he was Barry.
What do you think this is like with Molina behind the plate and Pujols at the plate? These two are so close.
It's fun. It's fun. I've been there. It's fun. But you know what? Yachty's trying to get him out. And nobody knows him better than Yachty. And that's what's weird. And I think sometimes when you're playing against your old team, I know for me, I was always trying to figure out what they were going to do, knowing that they were going to probably try to challenge me in early and then try to go away. And it always seemed like I was on the wrong page. I feel like Albert's probably thinking, he's probably thinking the same thing right now.
Got a base hit. 1 hit tonight, just 2 against his former team. 1 ball, 1 strike with 1 out, nobody on. Pitch at 96 from Trevor Rosenthal from the Kansas City area. Of course, Albert, born in the Dominican and then moved to Kansas City, still has a home there.
His family is spending the majority of their time there now. Kids are growing up.
1-2 is fouled back.
Crazy how much your life can change when it turns in from what needs to be done for you to be successful to where your kids need to go to school, and how your family can establish themselves. You kind of become a secondary thought in your career.
Here's a 1-2 pitch to Pujols. And a ground ball that's hit to short. 2 outs. We turn to our Budweiser player of the game, Jaime Garcia. Looks like he's going to pick up another win, and he earned it here tonight. Really effective, Jimmy, especially in that 7th inning.
Yeah, he showed what he's capable of doing, and probably the best part of the day was him getting out of that situation with 2nd and 3rd and 1 out. Give a lot of credit to Yachty to keeping him under control, but Jaime did the job and did the job really well tonight.
If the Cardinals hold on, Garcia goes to 3-2. Cardinals would then be 2 games above the 500 mark. 1 out to go. C.J. Cron at the plate. The 1-0 pitch. Fastball misses in. The 2-0. Blew it right by him. Wow. Ball just seemed to jump out of his hand. 3-1 pitch to C.J. Cron. And he walked him. 2-out walk. There's Giovanni Soto. He doubled back in the 7th and was left stranded. 1 for 3 tonight. Two outs, runner at first. Moss will play behind that runner. Cron, he'll take second base. And it's fielder's indifference.
The play bothers me. I don't know why.
You'd rather see him hold him on?
There's a lot of things that bother me about that play. Not to mention the fact that you get a stolen base, and I know it's fielder's indifference, but what if he pops up and throws him out? Do you get like fielder's indifference and go back to first, or you get a caught stealing? Or, I mean,
what I don't like about the play is that if you get a diving stop, it takes away the force, you know, with the play up the middle.
I could see it here with Rosie throwing 97.
Exactly. With a right-handed hitter, tough to pull.
But I just think it's a weird fielder's indifference. I think if you're stealing second, if they're giving you second base in the 2nd inning and you steal it, they're giving you fielder's indifference. Or what is it called? Indifference. If you trip and fall and they throw you out.
Caught stealing.
Caught stealing is right.
3-1. Well, you does not want to walk him here and bring up that tying run. Soto back in 2008, you may remember, with the Cubs, was the Rookie of the Year in the National League. Been a good player. 3-1 pitch. And he walked him. You know, a byproduct of games in which you see the Cardinals put up big numbers, we talked about it, is the fact that you don't have a lot of save opportunities in situations. So trying to keep this guy sharp has been a challenge for Mike Matheny.
Something to that, too. People don't realize that these guys are used to pitching every day, every other day, and when you don't go out there but a couple times a week, velocity's there, but sometimes your mechanics suffer.
Release point
suffers. And just having the feel of where to throw the ball.
Giovitella represents the tying run. One ball, one strike.
Good news is watching this inning right here, he's not missing by much.
The other issue, too, that you have with this is that you don't want to see him go above 20, 25 pitches if you need him again tomorrow. The 1-1 pitch from Rosenthal. There it is, 1-2. So the Angels down to their final strike. If you throw him the changeup here, you speeding up his bat. I mean, he has got that fastball humming tonight. The 1-2 pitch and a foul ball.
It's a broken bat and a bruise.
You know, it seems kind of silly to say this when you're throwing 98, the ball is jumping out of your hands, but doesn't it really seem like it's coming out of his hands with explosion here tonight?
He's got good life. His ball carries, stays on the same plane, just has a little bit of like a little life with the backspin. It's like it's been shot out of a cannon. Such a short, compact delivery, short arm, and just straight power.
Trying to put him away and win game 2 of this 3-game series. It's another 1-2 pitch from Rosenthal. That's driven out to left field. That'll stay in the ballpark, and this game is over. 5-2 the final. The Cardinals have a chance for a sweep tomorrow night.
Great job. Kind of a slow game. Nice game. Big 4 runs in the second inning. Got everything they needed, and Jaime Garcia did a great job tonight. Got into a little bit of trouble in the 7th inning and pitched his way out of it. I thought that was very impressive.
So Jaime picks up the win, his 3rd. The Cardinals are 2 games above 500, 5-2 the final. And they'll look for a sweep tomorrow night. Jim Hayes will have the post-game show with Scott Mormon and Brad Thompson, all coming up.